How I bind my own books. First, find some wood that fit the project. Then, set up a nice flat piece of wood. Put stops for the back and the front of where you're going to place your books. I set my books in one book at a time, making sure that the spine is down. Jog them and tap them, making sure that all of the pages touch the bottom wood, and set up a piece of wood at the back and at the front where you will pin the book together. The orange clamps work better than the black clamp because you can turn the handle to tighten them. Tighten them slowly so you can make sure the books are always in contact with the board. I like to use the same hand for both sides. That way I am going to get equal pressure because my right hand is definitely stronger than my left hand. Tighten them up just about as tight as you can get it. And then you can flip them over and stand them up. It would have been easier if I would have had the clamp handle closer to the end of the clamp because they wouldn't be up in the air so high. It would be more stable to work on, but I'm okay with it. I don't want to do it again. Next, I take my Dremel tool and I put lines in up and down and then diagonal and diagonal, making grooves about 1/16 of an inch deep for the glue to get in and hold the pages. As you can see, I've done this a couple of times before. A saw blade makes quick work of this. 1 pass, 2, third pass. I forgot to mention, make sure you put the slip sheets in between the books because it'll be easier then to separate them when the glue is all dried. Not worried about being out here on the edge because I know I'm going to cut about this much off of my book when I trim it to size. In this next step, I use a grease brush that I cut down to make the bristles really stiff. They're cheap, so I just throw them away when I'm done. I use this stuff. It's really great because it stays flexible and it dries in like 15 minutes or less if you want to make 2 or 3 coats. Just put on my first coat and the top is almost dry already and just finished the bottom. So I'll give it about 10 minutes and give it another coat. Coat 2, done. It's easier because on the first coat, you have to brush it up and down and back and forth, but mostly sideways so you can get all of that glue in between the paper sheets. Once that's done, then the surface is rather smooth and it's not hard to paint on coat 2 and 3. I let the books dry overnight, took them out of the rack and put spines down. Now we're going to pull the books apart. Don't use the sharp knife. You'll cut the pages. Use the dull knife. I don't have a tripod, so I'm not showing you anything that I'm actually doing in the way of work, but this is how the knife goes in. Just wiggle it back and forth. Now I have 10 books separated. Next is the cover. And the book simply slips into the cover. I will be painting the spine with that same silicone tube. Stuff is really sticky, and it'll put the cover on. So here I have a stack of 10 covers. What I do is mark at the edge of the spine with a pen, and I make a pretty deep groove so I can flip the cover over and then fold it and make my point here where I get the exact spot, and then line the two edges over here up perfectly, so when I crease the spine, it's square. See? And then I do it again. I hate doing this with one hand. I do it again on the next spot. Put it on the mark, get it started, put this over here exactly lined up, then slide my finger down, make my crease. See how that's perfect. And then I have a cover ready for a book. Got my board ready with some backstop, so when I get the cover on, I'll put the book in there with the spine flat against a flat surface. I have my Lexel again, super sticky, even sticks to wet surface. There you go. Got my brush, and I'm ready to paint the spines. Here we go. Try very hard not to get any of this out of the spine area. You don't need a thick coat. You just need enough to stick to the other part of the spine that you already did. All right, now let's stick the book in, line the top perfectly, and then slip it in, and then press on the spine with your finger until you get it all squished on there. And that's it. That's a full book until you trim it. I would just like to comment that I am doing a much cleaner job off camera. And be sure to check your pages to make sure you're not putting them in upside down. I'm almost done. I got two more books to do, but I just wanted to show you, if I can get this to focus, it sticks really well. No gap or whatever. And this is the other side. So that's not bad. My 10 books are done. All I have to do now is trim them. The glue dries fast, so I have to wipe off on a piece of paper, clean that, and wrap a piece of painter's tape around the end of it and save it for the next batch of 10. I'm pretty happy with that. Here are my 3 books that I bound using this process.